All right, welcome to assignment video 3, unit conversions. So this is something which is mostly done in mathematics, but this is something which is going to be very useful for our physics classroom as well. So I took an entire 2 days out of my teaching to just teach this topic to everybody. So hopefully you know this a little bit from your maths class, but if not, here is your chance to learn it. So what is unit conversion first of all? Well, it's converting from one unit to the other. For example, sometimes you are given things in miles. You want to know what is that thing in kilometer. Sometimes you are given things in meters and you want to know how much is that in centimeters, for example. So it could be switching between one system to another system in any possible way. So for example, like if you weigh yourself in like India, the weighing machine will be in kilograms. And for example, I weigh 70 kilograms in India. But when I come to the US, most scales have pounds in them. So lbs is how you measure here. And in the US, I measure 150 lb. And so I should know how these two relate to each other in order to understand how if I have gained weight or have lose weight or I'm the same weight. So anytime you go from one place to the other, most probably the systems change. So it's really a good thing to know on how to switch between one system to the other system. And especially like when you're traveling abroad, I know one day you guys will be rich and you will be going to different places, and then you will be standing at the airport and you have to change your currency. Say for example, you're coming to India and you have a lot of dollars with you, and now you need to get Indian rupees. How would you do that? So if you know that one US dollars, for example, is 80 Indian rupees, and then if you knew how to do conversions and say you had $100 with you, hopefully more than that, $1,000 at least with you, and now you want to get this converted into Indian rupees. If you knew how to do this, if you took this class, if you did well on the assignment, you would not need to take your calculator out or look it up on Google. You would be sufficient enough to do this on your own, and that's a good inspiration to have, because you will be converting into one units to the other units all the time. You're in your grocery store trying to buying tomatoes, you don't know which one to buy, which one is cheaper, because one of them comes in a big package, has a different price, whereas the small one comes in a different price, and you don't know which one is going to be cheaper. Well, what do you use? You use your unit conversion skills there. So let's do that. Hopefully that is interesting enough to learn. I'll be doing 4 questions with you, and hopefully those 4 questions will give you enough information and knowledge to be able to do all the 8 questions that are on the assignment. Okay, so let's jump into action real quick. So first question that we want to solve. So let's just say it's given to you that 1 mile is equal to 1.609 kilometer. So what this means is a mile is a bigger unit, because if you have only one of a mile, you get 1.6 of a kilometer. So a mile is a bigger unit. And the question is, if you have 1 mile is these many kilometers, how much is going to be 4 miles? Well, it's pretty simple. And here's the first fun fact that we learn about doing this kind of problem. Anytime you see an equation like this, for example, that 1 mile is equal to 1.6 kilometer, as long as you can do any operation on this equation, as long as you do it on the both sides. By operation, I mean you can multiply anything, divide anything, add anything, subtract anything. But as long as you do it on the both sides, it does not affect the equation. The equation is still true. What do I mean by that? Well, I know there is 1 mile on the left, and I want to get to 4 miles. So if I multiply 4 on both sides, I know the left side will become 4 miles, because 1 times 4 is 4. And so hopefully if I have the left side as 4 miles, the right side, whatever it multiplied by 4 becomes, will be the answers in kilometer that I need. So let me slowly go through this. So if I multiply 4 on both sides, 4 times 1 mile is equal to 4 times 1.609 kilometer. So as long as I did the same operation on both sides, the equation still holds true. This is still equal to each other. And so this 4 times 1 gives me 4 miles. Aha, that's what we wanted. And what do I get on the right side? I get the answer on the right side, and I need to pull my calculator to do this. So 4 times 1.609 is 6.436 kilometer. 6.436 kilometer, which makes sense, right? Because if 1 mile is 1.6, So 4 miles will definitely be more than 4 in kilometer, because kilometer is a smaller unit of length. So 4 mile will always give you more than 4 kilometer, which is in this case is 6.4. That's one way to check if your answer is right or not. Okay, all right, that was first question. Hopefully, and this is something we'll keep doing again and again. As long as we do the same operations on both sides, we can, this equation still holds true, and that way we can convert anything into anything else. Let's just do this one. Question number 2. This needs 2 steps in it. So the first, this is saying 1,000 meters, M is for meters, not for miles, just to be careful. 1,000 meters is a kilometer, okay? And the question is, how many kilometers are there in 10 meters? And some of you guys might be good with maths, and you can just immediately see how to change from here to here. But that's good. But those of you who have no idea what's happening here, let's go slowly about this. So if 1,000 meter is a kilometer, what is the first thing I should do? First thing you usually aim for is to get a 1 on the left side. Because if you get a 1 on the left side over here, then you can do whatever you need. Then you can easily multiply 10 on the left side to get to 10 meters if you have the 1. So the first step is get the 1 on both sides. How can I get 1 on the left side? Well, there's 1,000. What do I do with this 1,000 so that it becomes a 1? Let's just divide it by 1,000. So if I divide both sides by 1,000, so 1,000 meter divided by 1,000 is equal to 1 kilometer. And since I did this operation on the left, I have to do the same operation on the right. So I'm going to divide this side by 1,000 as well. Let me get this out. Yep. So all I basically did was I divided 1,000 on both sides. And what is 1,000 divided by 1,000? Well, if you have 1,000 people and you have $1,000, and if you distribute it, everybody gets $1. So this becomes 1 meter when you divide 1,000 by 1,000. And what is 1 kilometer divided by 1,000 becomes? Well, you can use your calculator for this, and this will become 0.001 kilometer, because you are dividing 1 by a huge number. So $1 is distributed among 1,000 people. Nobody's gonna get then. Everybody's gonna get like 1/10 of a penny in this case. Now that I have 1 meter is equal to these many kilometers, life is simple from here. Now you just need to get to 10. What is the next step that I can do? Let's multiply 10 on both sides. So 10 into 1 meter is equal to 10 into whatever this is, 0.001 kilometer. Because as long as you do the same operation on both sides, you can do that and the equation will still be true. By that I mean the equal to sign will still be valid. So if I do that, let's just get rid of these extra things. What do I get? 10 times 1 meter is just 10 meters. Hey, I already have that here. Nice. This is fun. What about this side? 10 times 0.001 will give you 0.01 kilometer. And that's our final answer. And hopefully these 2 questions should help you do question 1, question 2, question 4. All 3 should be done doable from here onwards. All right, we're running out of time. I'm gonna make this a smaller video, so let's move on to the question 3. And this is gonna be a slightly different question. So let's just say that there is a tower. This is actually Burj Khalifa, guys. This is the longest building in the world, and it's 820 meters, this entire tower. And my question is, if this entire tower is 820 meters, what is this height in miles? Now we are switching between 2 different units we have not talked about, meters to miles. How do I do this? The first thing is, let's see if there's anything that I can utilize from here already. I see a mile to a kilometer conversion, and I see a kilometer to a meter conversion. So there are 3 steps needed in this question. The first thing is, let's just convert maybe I have digged a hole for myself here. Let's just convert 820 meters into kilometers first. So 820 meters into some kilometers. I don't know what that is. Let's try it together. I know that I can get 1 meter on the left side I already know how much is 1 meter in kilometer, if you see here. And since I know that already from the previous question, let me write this down here again. 1 meter is equal to 0.001 kilometer. Now I know that if I multiply 820 on both sides, I can easily get on the left 820 meters. So that will give me the 820 meters in kilometers. So if I multiply 820 with 0.001, I should get 0.820 kilometer. You can use your calculator to check that. Perfect. Now we know that 820 meters is nothing but 0.820 kilometer. That's good. That's the first achievement we have for this question. That's nice. The second thing I need, but I need the answer in miles, not in kilometers. What can I use from question 1 for that? I know a mile is 1.609 kilometer. So what I know is 1 mile is 1.609 kilometer. Now my target is to convert this number into miles. So 1 mile is this many kilometers. I can reverse this order and just write 1.609 kilometer is equal to 1 mile. Right? Same thing. I just switched the sides. And from here, it's so much fun to see that how you can get 1 kilometer from this side. What can I do to get 1 kilometer? Well, what I can do is simply divide both sides by the same number. So if I divide this left side, this side, by the same number 1.609, a number divided by itself is always a 1. So let's just do that. So if I divide 1.609 kilometer by 1.609, so I have to do the same operation on the right too, right? Because that's how this works. As long as you do the same thing on the both sides, it's still good. And if I do that on the left, I get 1 because I'm dividing the same number by itself. So 1 kilometer is equal to, on the right, if you do this division, 1 divided by 1.609, you get 0.625 miles. Woohoo! The second big step has been achieved. So I know how 1 kilometer is in miles. And I have these many kilometers to convert in miles. So if I know this is 1 kilometer, if I multiply both sides by 0.82, on the left I get 0.820 kilometers, and that's equal to, I'll need my calculator for this, 0.625 into 0.82. That gives me 0.51 miles. That's fun, yeah? This should make sense because a mile is a bigger unit. So if it's 0.8 kilometer, this will definitely be less than 0.8. And 0.5 is definitely less than 0.8. I know this is a hard question because we're doing 3 things at the same time. This was step 2, this was step 1, this was step 3. But this is as hard as it gets, guys. And the questioning assignment is easier than this, I promise. But yeah, you have to switch between here and there and see what information can you extract to solve this question. This is an easy question now, the last one. The question says you're going, say, at 50 kilometers per hour, like the bus is moving at 50 kilometers per hour. What is your speed in miles per hour? As simple as that. So this is hopefully going to be much easy. You have a speed given in 50 kilometers per hour. And the question is, what is the speed in miles per hour? The first thing is, see, there's hour and hour on both sides. So you don't need to worry about the time. All you need to worry about is how much is 50 kilometers in miles. That's all you need to worry about. So, well, you already did this. You already know how much is 1 kilometer in mile. Let's write that information down here. I already know 1 kilometer is 0.625 miles from my previous question. So how much is 50 kilometer? How will I find that? You just multiply 50 on both sides. That's it. Multiply 50 on both sides. and the left becomes 50 kilometer, and the right side becomes 50 times 0.625. That's just 31.25 miles, which again makes sense because a mile is a bigger unit, so it will be less than 50. And there you go. So your speed is just 31.25 miles per hour. Woohoo, done. And the last question on your assignment says something like, if this much distance is being covered in 20 minutes, for example, how much is the speed for an hour? So think about it like there are 3 20 minutes block in an hour. 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. 3 of them make an hour. So what number you should multiply by to get the speed from whatever answer you got in question 7? What number you need to multiply by to get to the answer for question 8? Just a small hint. I know you can do it. All right, that's it for assignment 3. See you in assignment 4.